Hello everybody, I'm just going to hop in quickly to let you know that the pre-order for the comic and a new poster of some artwork that features in this video is now available on our website. The pre-order runs from August the 14th to August the 28th. So get your orders in quick, and all of the pre-order comics will be signed. For the rest of the information, you can check out our Instagram or the shop itself. That's Shriekingwizardco.com/shop. We ship everywhere to everyone, except the moon. We don't have rockets, but maybe we will one day. Thank you for listening. Bye. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye. I love you. Bye. Bye. Hello and welcome to a deviation from our usual videos.
Yeah, it's pretty on brand.
Yeah.
But we're here to have a little chat about our comic.
Yeah.
And how we made it.
How we came to the decision that we wanted to move to comics from animation.
And a little bit of the process of how we got from how we made the actual thing.
Yeah, and the logistics of, getting it into comic form. Yeah.
So it all kind of starts with Alex, not just the specific comic, but the whole idea.
He's always been fond of comics of making a comic himself.
Yeah, comic is his first love, right?
Yeah.
His final university project, he made his own comic, and so when he pitched this to us, it kind of didn't really take long for us to all be like, yeah, no, that's actually a great idea. The idea of being able to post consistently is something that we've always wanted to do, but in the animation, it just didn't happen. We could not get it done fast enough, ever.
It was such an involved and lengthy process that, it was starting to get to be too long between episodes, and we wanted to sort of keep everyone's attention, and, it feels a bit unfair on the audience to not,
Yeah, so comic was the best way to go for that. And once we'd all decided, we kind of moved on to... so we decided we were going to redo everything from scratch so that any new audience member that was coming to us from Webtoons would see the whole story in the same format. It also meant that we got to print a physical copy of all of it, because if we'd started from chapter 4, then it would have been in the middle, and it's going to be really satisfying one day to have a whole season, if the physical books...
I think that was primarily the end thing that we were very excited for, because we were like, yeah, Webtoons. Oh shit, comics, real physical comics. So, yeah.
So the Webtoon comic thing, one is print form and one is paper sized. No, one is scrolling size.
Yeah, one's phone. Yeah.
And those are two completely different things, and we talked for a really long time about how we were going to achieve that without doing twice as much work. We were worried about
how do we translate the really unique sort of layouts that Alex had come up with, where you have boxes skewing about and they're sort of off kilter.
Those really
how
nice.
Do you translate that into a nice scroll form?
Yeah, the big double page spreads and stuff, we wanted to make sure that we could get that in there. And we took a long time about if we were going to just do two separate things, reboard the whole thing for Webtoons to make it fit for the scrolling format better, or should we start with Webtoons and then move backwards? In the end, we made a print comic first. We had a comic ready to print, and then we turned that into a Webtoons thing later on.
And, narrowed it down.
So it started with Alex, and he made some really rough thumbnails for the whole thing, super rough on paper, just these are the box panel layouts that I would like. I would like this frame to be one big double page spread, whereas these ones could happen short in quick succession. Once we'd sort of all confirmed that, he moved on to a sketching stage, which was basically the thumbnails, but in the program. So he found a print layout which had all the margins on it for don't go this close to the edge kind of thing, don't put text here, so that it was ready for print when we got that far. And sort of just detailed more what he wanted on the thing, so that they could then go to inking, which was actually for chapter 0 also Alex. We've sort of changed this a bit. Now we're in the production of chapter 1, there's some more people involved. Actually, me and you are now
Yeah,
involved in the
yeah.
inking stage. We're back on doing backgrounds, but for
Yeah.
chapter 0, it was so short that it didn't need to be thrown around so many people.
Yeah.
We just kept it within the one. What you've been seeing at the moment is Alex inking one of the last pages of chapter 0. It's this one doesn't have any panels on it. It's actually just like one big image, but it is one of the last pages. So throughout this whole video, you're going to see us all working in Clip Studio. We are not sponsored by Clip Studio. Alex is, however, so occasionally. We're not sponsored by Clip Studio. We just really like them. We were all introduced by Alex. This is before he even got any sponsorship. He introduced us to the program when he was starting to think about making comics.
Have we been contacted by Clip Studio?
No, we have not.
Clip Studio, if you want to,
We love your shit.
fling us a message.
But the program actually worked out better than we were expecting, specifically for Webtoons, because it has built-in features that mean you can like there's built-in really long canvases, like super long, like 800 pixels by 20,000, so that you can like make your scrolling format. And I was like, okay, this is great, but now what am I meant to do with a really long thing? Because a Webtoons upload takes small pictures, like you have to cut it up into chunks to upload it. But Clip Studio also has a feature where you can like export as Webtoon, and it cuts it up into the size that it takes, and it just saves it for you as like 20 different pieces.
That's great.
It's so handy. Like, I'm not intentionally promoting their shit, but using
it's
this
just
tool
seamless.
did make everything much faster.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that as we get to my bit later on. But once he's done all of his stuff, it moves on to Amy, who is our colorist. She's been doing the color since like literally day one, since the first round of chapter 0. And by this point, there's so many references on the colours. For this page in particular, there's like all of the characters plus dragon and a slight background. So by page 12, she had not only the references that we use for everything for consistency, but also like from previous pages in the comic. So she was like pulling the shadow and highlight colours from previous pages just to make sure that everything links up. So a lot of what you see here is her dragging colours that she's used before.
Very handy.
Super handy.
That's the good thing about having made the animation before the comics, I think.
Yeah.
You have all these resources.
There's so many resources.
Feels like we're just like going back and making it how we would have, I think, like you always go back to do a thing to like, and you improve it. Yeah,
that's very much what this is. We really refreshed it to be sort of better. I say better, like we've grown a lot since we made chapter 0 the first time.
I think if anything, we've realized just how like taxing it is to make a full animation.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, let alone like actually moving people as well. Insane.
Oh, something I wanted to point out while you can see the full lineup here is that we've had a bunch of questions about who is the character on the far right. That is Venzenia. I don't really want to tell you too much about her character because there's something that we're working on that you're probably not going to see for quite a while now. But she plays a major role in that and the early parts of the High Hopes like campaign that we played. And I don't want to tell you really anything about that or the reason that she's currently not in the story.
We're working on bonus DLC.
Yeah, some bonus DLC. Don't get too excited. It's going to be a long time in the making, but
we don't really know, do we really?
Yeah, but her name is Venzenia. She is a druid. She was there at the very first game we ever played when we fought a dragon in Imarden, which is why she is in chapter 0. She was a part of the original 6. So for all of you wondering, that is who she is. Also, in the first time you ever see her in the animation of chapter 0, it looks like she's missing an arm. She's not. It's just the way that she's posed. She does, in fact, have 2 arms. A whole 2 arms. So moving, like, once Amy's done her colour, once Amy's finished the colour, we all sort of double check it and go, yeah, that's great, that's a whole comic page.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's ready for print.
Yeah.
We have a printable comic, which is great. However, there's a next step, and the next step is me. This bit is kind of where I pull the whole thing apart and change the shape of it. Something that, like before Alex introduced us to this and before we'd even started making the comic, I'd never even heard of Webtoon. So recently I've been trying to use the platform and actually be an avid reader to see the kind of things that people do there, because the layout is super different. The scrolling layout means that the viewer follows the story down, they learn more as they go, whereas with the print format you open a page and all your information is available at once, which kind of meant that I had quite a lot to more to play with. The frame that Alex and Amy were doing in this video, even though it's one image, it got turned into 4 panels, I think, in the scrolling version. Because you start with the characters on the left, and then you see a zoomed in version of the characters on the right, and they're look like they're ready to fight someone, but you don't know what it is, and as you scroll down you're like, there's a dragon.
There it is.
And then you scroll down further and you see the full image,
the full spread
with some effect on it, basically. Because something I was really trying to avoid was just just dropping in a whole panel. So often if I have a big image,
You worked on pacing.
Yeah, there's
basically.
a lot of pacing involved in Webtoons, because you want to keep the reader there for a while and you want to keep that movement, basically. There's a lot of sense of movement in the way that Webtoons reads.
It was like translating keyframes from the animation, kind of.
Yeah. Similar. But I also I didn't want to put boxes. Well, I tried to avoid just a clear box as often as I could. So the last panel that involves this frame has a smoke top that trails out, and then clouded bottom. So there's
follow the trail.
Yeah, more movement involved in the thing.
Making it feel more organic. Yeah.
It took a while. After Alex finished his sketching stage, I took the images that he chucked at us, and I pulled those apart just to try and get an idea, because it's the first time we'd ever done it, of if it would work and what kind of things we could do with it. So when I was doing these ones that you see here, I had a reference kind of as to what I wanted in what places. Yeah. That's kind of the thing. That's the step-by-step of how we did it. I'm probably going to... Our patrons are probably going to get a bit more of the actual specifics of this. We might chuck them the thumbnails that we made and some of the sketches and stuff, so they can actually see how we got from A to B.
Yeah.
But for you lot on YouTube, this is what you got.
This is what you get.
I think that's it. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Farewell.
Farewell. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.